Last Seed of Lumina. In the small, resilient village of Oakhaven lived a young woman named Elara. She was a quiet gardener with soil-stained hands and eyes the color of moss after a spring rain. She tended a small, stubbornly vibrant patch of land, a riot of the few remaining colorful blooms in the village. Elara possessed a deep connection to the earth. A whisper of the ancient magic that once thrived in Atheria still echoed in her heart. One evening, as the sky bled into shades of dull lavender and charcoal, an old traveler, his cloak as faded as the world around him, arrived in Oakhaven. He leaned heavily on a gnarled staff. His eyes, though aged, held a spark of a long-lost fire. He sought out Elara, drawn by the faint aura of life that clung to her garden. "Young one," his voice rasped, like dry leaves skittering across stone. "I have journeyed far, guided by whispers of enduring life. They say hope still blooms in Oakhaven." "It tries," Elara replied softly, gesturing to her small garden. "But the withering, it takes so much." "Indeed. But I have seen a vision, child. A vision of a place untouched by the gray blight, a sanctuary where color still reigns. It is said to hold the last seed of Lumina, a seed blessed by the very essence of light and life. If planted, it could revitalize Atheria." Elara's heart leapt, a chance, however slim, to restore the world she loved. "Where is this place?" she asked, her voice filled with a sudden urgency. "It lies beyond the Shadowfen, across the Whispering Mountains, in the hidden valley of Evergreena. But beware, the path is treacherous, guarded by creatures twisted by the withering and illusions designed to break the spirit." Despite the daunting journey, Elara knew she had to try. The next morning, with a knapsack filled with dried herbs and a small trowel, she bid farewell to the somber villagers and set off, the old traveler's faded map clutched in her hand. Her journey through the graying lands was arduous. The once vibrant forests were now skeletal trees reaching towards a colorless sky. The creatures she encountered were gaunt and listless, their eyes devoid of their natural spark. But Elara pressed on, fueled by the image of her vibrant garden and the hope of a world reborn. The Shadowfen was a mire of stagnant gray water and twisted, leafless vegetation. Eerie mists swirled, playing tricks on her eyes, conjuring phantom paths and whispering discouraging voices in her ears. But Elara focused on the faint, inner sense of direction the old traveler had described, a pull towards vibrant life. The Whispering Mountains lived up to their name. Jagged peaks of gray stone echoed with mournful winds that seemed to carry the sorrows of the dying world. She climbed treacherous slopes, the thin air biting at her lungs, the silence broken only by the whistling wind and the occasional dislodged stone. Here, she encountered creatures warped by the withering, shadow wolves with eyes like dying embers and rock elementals whose stony bodies crumbled to dust as they moved. Elara, though not a warrior, possessed a quiet resilience and a deep understanding of the natural world. She used her knowledge of herbs to ward off the shadow wolves and found paths through the crumbling elementals by sensing the flow of residual life energy in the stone. Finally, after weeks of relentless travel, Elara crested the final peak. Below her lay a sight that stole her breath away. The valley of Evergreena was a vibrant splash of color in the monochrome world. Lush green meadows rolled towards forests of deep emerald and sapphire. A crystal river, shimmering with all the colors of the rainbow, snaked through the valley. It was as if a single, perfect memory of the old Atheria had been preserved. As she descended into the valley, she was greeted by creatures unlike any she had seen on her journey. Birds with plumage of dazzling hues sang melodies that resonated with pure joy. Deer with coats like polished copper grazed peacefully. In the heart of the valley stood an ancient, luminous tree, its leaves shimmering with every color imaginable. This was the Lumina tree, the source of the valley's vitality. Beneath the Lumina tree, nestled amongst its glowing roots, was a single seed. It pulsed with a soft, inner light, radiating warmth and the promise of life. As Elara reached for it, a guardian emerged, not a fearsome beast, but a being of pure light, its form shifting and shimmering like 1,000 prisms. "You have journeyed far, mortal," its voice echoed, not in her ears, but in her mind, a symphony of light and sound. "Your heart holds the true hue of hope. Why do you seek the last seed?" "My world, Atheria, it is fading," Elara replied, her voice filled with a quiet sorrow. "The withering steals its color, its life. We need hope. We need the light to return." The seed holds great potential, but it is not merely planted in the soil. It needs to be nurtured by unwavering hope and the genuine desire for life to flourish. "Are you prepared for this responsibility?" Elara looked at her soil-stained hands, at the vibrant valley around her, and then back towards the gray world she had left behind. "I am," she said, her voice firm. "I will nurture it with every fiber of my being." The guardian of Lumina nodded, its light softening. The seed floated gently into Elara's open palm, warm and pulsing with life. "Go then, child of hope. Carry this light back to your world. But remember, the seed is only the beginning. True color will return when the hearts of Atheria rediscover their own vibrant hues of courage, kindness, and connection." With the last seed of Lumina safely tucked away, Elara began her journey back. This time, the gray lands seemed a little less bleak, for she carried within her the promise of renewal. The journey was still long and challenging, but the hope in her heart shone brighter than any sun Atheria had seen in centuries. Upon her return to Oakhaven, the villagers gathered, their faces etched with a mixture of curiosity and despair. Elara knelt in the center of the village, the precious seed held carefully in her hand. With a silent prayer, she planted it in the very heart of the village, in the patch of earth where her colorful garden had once bloomed so bravely. For days, nothing seemed to happen. Doubt began to creep into the villagers' hearts. But Elara tended the spot with unwavering faith, watering it with the purest water she could find, and whispering words of hope and life. Then, one morning, a single, tiny sprout emerged from the gray earth. It was a vibrant emerald green, a color the villagers had almost forgotten. As they watched in awe, the sprout grew, unfurling leaves of the most brilliant hues. Slowly, tentatively, color began to seep back into the world around it, starting with Oakhaven. A patch of blue appeared on a nearby flower, then a streak of crimson on a bird's wing. The last seed of Lumina had awakened the dormant magic of Atheria. But as the guardian had said, the seed was only the beginning. It was the hope it represented, the unwavering belief in a brighter future, that truly brought the color back to the world, blooming not just in the landscapes, but in the hearts of its people. And Elara, the quiet gardener, became known as the bringer of color, a testament to the enduring power of hope in a world that had almost forgotten how to dream in vibrant hues.